Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Welcome. The show is in honor of, and I gotta tell you the truth. I got a special friend here. He and I go back a number of years. We worked together with the police department, and we worked together afterwards, talking to him about different projects he's on. And he is a Vietnam vet, and the best way I could describe Cary Spearman is by saying he cares. He truly cares. And in talking to him, we don't agree on all the things he says, but he can convince you that your thinking isn't right all the time. Cary has been back to Vietnam at least 12 times, and he's brought supplies, and he is single-handedly, without the benefit of organization, he and a couple of other friends that have helped him have single-handedly supplied medical supplies and unbelievable amount of things that he's taken back to Vietnam with him. Cary, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you served in Nam as a medic.
Yes.
Okay, and even though we don't agree, I call you a hero, more ways than one. Maybe you should start off by telling us your view on that word hero.
Well, I know a lot of people go along with the word hero. I have nothing against it. But for me, I don't like the word hero for me, okay? Because the thing is, I signed up to do a job, and I'm going to do the job, okay? So maybe I work long hours, I do a lot of things that has to be done, but that's my job. And I'm gonna do it no matter what. But a hero, there's no such thing as a hero for 365 days. There's no such thing. I can take you right now and go to Subway and get a hero sandwich. Somebody can hit a home run and they're a hero. Somebody makes a touchdown, they're a hero. What does that mean? I'm dealing with lives. They're dealing with games. So if they tell me you did a good job, I understand what do a good job is. I understand what doing a lousy job. I understand what a piss poor job is. But a hero, I have no idea. Because there's a lot of people that go above and beyond. Because that's their job. The fire department does it every day. The police department does it every day. EMT does it every day. Even people that work in offices, they do it every day. A lot of them do outside their job because they want to get the job done. So that, to me, I'm not a hero. The other guys, if they acquire that word and they like it, they enjoy it, that's fine. I don't. Just tell me I did a good job, bad job, or lousy job. I can accept it.
Well, now you, since leaving Nam, have been back, what, 12 times?
12 times.
12 times. And what was your purpose of going back?
Tell you the truth, I felt comfortable there. When I came here, I didn't feel comfortable. People didn't want us here. There I felt comfortable. There I meant something. The job that I did, it counted for something. So I wanted to see the way it is now, how it turned out. Meet some of the people that I've seen and a lot of the people that I fought against, or the people that fought against me. And we all got together, and to them, the war is over. It's done. They're moving on. A lot of times, it's hard for us to move on sometimes. But if you went to see them, you understand they moved on.
Okay. Now, when you went back, you gathered up supplies, medical supplies?
Well, what happened is I was going down to D.C., and I met a girl down in D.C., and she told me there was 2 guys to go back to Vietnam. So I talked to my wife and told her I wanted to go. So I called the guys, they were in New Jersey, and they told me where to buy the tickets and when they were going. So I told them, I said, well, how would I know you in the airport? They said, we'd be the 2 tallest guys there. So my wife took me to the airport, and they were the 2 tallest guys there. And they had started taking medical supplies back to Vietnam, so I started working with them. But what happened was we kind of broke off because they got hooked up with political stuff and other people. And I couldn't do that because I didn't want to get hooked up with political stuff and things. I was going to do it because I wanted to do it. I didn't want somebody to take credit because they did it and they gave it, so we broke off. And then I came back to Staten Island, and I had Joan Cupo.
Right.
Right. She's a gift. And I told her this is what I do, and she said, it can be done. So we went to All Saints Episcopal Church, and I talked to her, and we ended up getting 3,000 pounds of medical supplies by word of mouth. No advertisements, no flash in the papers, by word of mouth.
No organization?
No organization, no elected officials, just people. They came from the Middle Island, Tottenville, they came from every part of the island. And what made it funny, they didn't even know me. I didn't even know them. They just knew this is what I was gonna do. And they all came out of the woodwork from everywhere.
And this is all in Staten Island?
All in Staten Island. You'd be surprised what they can do. And the one thing is that, told them, it won't take no money. And then they said, well, you might say, you don't understand. If you give me money, it's like telling me to go away. But if you're in a drugstore and you see a box of Band-Aids, buy the Band-Aids, give me the Band-Aids. I'll take it over. But if you give me the money, that means I have to go shopping for the Band-Aids, pack it up, take it over to the airport, put it on a plane, and ship it. So it's causing me more problems. But if you're already there, just pick up a box of Band-Aids, toothpaste, whatever you want. You know, I'm not telling you what to give me. I'm just telling you what I'm not going to do. And what they did is they started bringing things from all over the place. But one old gentleman from Tottenville, he came all the way from Tottenville to All Saints up on Victory Boulevard, and he said he just wanted to be a part of it. And he handed me a $10 bill. I told him, I said, we're not taking money. He says, but I want to be a part of it. To this day, I still have that $10 bill. He wouldn't leave. He wanted to give that $10 bill. That's how strong this island is if you deal people on people. And you leave out the middleman and everything else, people on people, they can do great things.
Now, did you have any problem getting these supplies into Vietnam?
No, what happened is I took it over. I told my travel agent what I wanted to do. He said, well, get it to me, and I'll get it to Vietnam. So we took it all to his house in Brooklyn. He took it to China Air. China Air flew it in country for us for free, stored it in the warehouse. When we got there, they trucked it to the hospital for us. Didn't cost us nothing.
And there was no red tape?
No red tape, straight through.
Because I know a lot of people over time have become hesitant to donate in certain cases because red tape and expenditures in the shrinking dollar make it difficult to get the value of what you're doing.
Well, the thing is that we paid out of our own pockets. It was our own money to go over there and move around the country. It was all our own money. But the one thing is here, we could guarantee you exactly where it's going. You will see it. We'll bring you back pictures, and in some cases we'll bring you back letters by the government stamped exactly where it is. So if you give it to us and we say it's going to point A, it's going to go to point A. It's not going to go B or C. It's going to go there. In fact, when we went back with the 3,000 pounds, Joni Cooper had an advance reporter go with us, and she stayed with us the whole time we delivered it. So she documented it in the news. Everything went where it was supposed to go.
It's a great thing. A great thing that you did. And the perseverance you had to have to follow through with this. You were telling me some cases where some of the equipment that you brought over to the hospitals, the microscope, which came from
Pfizer.
From Pfizer?
Yes.
Okay. The reception that you received from the general public over there when you got there with the medicine and supplies, how was that?
They were very happy to get it because they didn't have it. And see, the thing that people don't understand, we killed off a whole generation. So a lot of these people that we see now are young. They don't even know that much about the war because we killed off a whole generation of people. But they were just glad to have somebody come in to help them. And the thing was, what else helping them, there was no catches. See, they didn't owe us nothing. We didn't want nothing back from them. We would go drop it off, give it to them, and then we leave. And the next time we come back and we got something, we drop it off and we leave. But there was nothing that they were committed to us for anything. So we could move and go around where we want because we didn't say, well, I'm going to give you this, you got to do this. I'm going to give you that, you have to have this. That wasn't done. So it made it very easier for us to move around. Especially with my friend Vinny, you know, we can move 90 miles an hour in 10 seconds. That's how fast he moves sometimes.
You know, from the first time that you went over there to the 12th time, did you notice any difference in country in Vietnam?
Oh, the country's changing now. You know, it's building 60-story buildings, apartment buildings now. It's changing a lot now. You know, I liked it when I first went there. Now it's almost getting like New York City, especially Saigon.
Really?
It's getting just like New York City. You know, it's crowded. I mean, it's building up all over the place now.
Okay. Yeah. And by the way, I want to make mention, Lorraine is here in studio. Lorraine is Cary's wife. She didn't want to come on camera, but we acknowledge the sacrifice that you've been through in going through this with Cary and letting him make these trips back and forth and fulfilling his need to do what he's doing.
Well, see, the thing is, that's why I did that plaque I was telling you about.
Right.
Because, I mean, she sacrificed a lot putting up with me. And she's had to make a lot of adjustments over the years for me, you know, because I can move at 90 miles an hour, I can stop, I can turn, I can do a lot of different things. And so far, she's been able to hang in there and keep my feet on the ground. You know, I mean.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, because I do a lot of longhand writing.
Right.
She does typing.
Right.
She does spell correcting. She does grammar correcting. Because I don't. I just grab a pen, I just start writing, and I ask her, "Can you do this for me?" And she does it, and it's done. You know, so she's put up with a lot. That's why, in a way, that the plaque I did covers
Well, talk
her.
about the plaque. Do you have a copy that we can bring out? Maybe you can read it off to the public.
So thank you to all the men and women who served in the armed forces, no matter where your job was or where you went, where you were stationed. You went where you were sent and did the job the best you could. We appreciate all of the sacrifices you made. Thank you to all the family members, friends, and perfect strangers who supported them and welcomed them back with love. Thank you to the people who had to make adjustments in their lives to deal with us veterans and on their return. Men and women on a mission, trained to serve whenever and wherever. That's the whole thing.
That's a beautiful plaque, and I've seen it before. But now you've had success in having this.
Well, right now it's on its way to West Point, because nobody thanks the people in West Point, and that was the key, because the people that were trained in West Point, they saved lives, but they thanked the generals, the captains and stuff, but they never thought about thanking the trainers that trained them, because they trained them. Now you're saying, did I do a good job or did I do a bad job? But the only way they know is if you come back and tell them. So right now it's going up to West Point. I called to, well, the way it started is Michael Grimm came to the Fraternal Order of Police, and he was talking and junk, and I didn't want to hear him, so he's talking. And he made one mistake. He said he was an ex-Marine. So I stood up and I told him, "You're full of," I said, "there's no such thing." So everybody's looking at me. I said, "There's no such thing as an ex-Marine. There's no such thing." After that, everywhere we went, I met him. Me and him would argue. Everywhere we went, I met him when he had a book signing, and we were getting money for the people that were sending stuff, supplies to Grand and Desert Storm, and we argued there. Then went to my friend's house that it was honored because he got there. We was arguing there. So he walking into the kitchen, and I told him, I said, "Look, this is what I'm gonna do." And I told him exactly what I was gonna do. And he called Mike Alvarez over, and he said, "Mike, work with him." And he stepped out of the picture. And I have great respect for him, because he did not try to change anything. He did not try to get into it at all. He just introduced me to Mike, and Mike did his part. I did my part. And I wrote it up, got a guy, Chris Lotto, graphic designer, to design it, and we ended up putting it in the VA hospital. And it's right there now in VA hospital on the first floor. And it says exactly that.
No, we're talking about the Brooklyn VA hospital?
Brooklyn VA hospital. Right. And what I like about Michael Grimm, he left it alone. He understood exactly what I wanted to do. And the only other elected official that did it was James Otto and Mary Mitchell. They understood that it could not be political, because people follow politicians or political, and they do things that's politically correct. I didn't want it to be politically correct. I wanted it to be either you felt it or you didn't. You agreed with it or you didn't, but on a person level. But a lot of them will follow because the politician said it's right, they'll go along with it. But they don't really care about it, or they're not really thinking about it. So Otto knew it when I talked to him, and Mike Grimm, he knew it. Because the other ones I talked to him, they didn't want to have nothing to do with it, because it was not promoting them. Technically, it's not even promoting me. It's asking people to think about something, to look at something. Like now, it's in Walter Reed. It's down in Brooklyn Army Medical Center, where they train all the medical personnel. It's in Fort Sam Houston. It's at Fort Hamilton. Syracuse, New York, Syracuse University, what a lot of veterans don't understand, they have a wing that's just for veterans. They teach them. Syracuse University. The Fisher House was in Texas, which is for veterans again. Wounded Warrior Support is in Texas again too. Now, I don't know if a lot of people know it, the Marine Corps' Wounded Warrior Regiment in Quantico, Virginia. They have their own. It's there. It's at McGuire Air Force Base and Fort Dixon, New Jersey, right now. It's in Arlington National Cemetery, because nobody says thank you to those people. Because when I called down here, I asked him, I said, well, you know, it's kind of haggled back and forth. I said, the guys, the soldiers there, they're not actors. I said, when they lay the wreath on the president, I said, it looks very nice. I said, but they disappear. Where do they go? I said, when they march behind the coffin, they put it in the ground. Where do they go? I said, who says thank you to them? Nobody. I said, so technically, they're not there. Only in special occasions. I said, but they're not actors. They're people. I said, don't you think they would like to hear thank you? You appreciate it? You know, so that's how it got into Arlington, Virginia, and Arlington. Mike McMahon has one in his office. Terbiak has one in the chief of detective's office. And I met a fireman. There was a little thing outside, you know, gas leak across the street from my house. And I had one of the flyers, and I said, the fireman. So I said, let me go out there. So I went out to this fireman, and I said, the fireman, I'll show you something. So he says, I can't talk to you right now. I said, the chief is coming. He says, after the chief goes. I said, okay. So I'm waiting there. Chief pulls up, he gets out. And then I said, I'm going to go over this. So I walked over to the truck, and I asked the guy, I said, that's the chief? He says, yeah. So I walked up, I said, look, I want to give you something. So he looks at me like, you know, what do you want to give me? So I handed it to him. He's looking at me. I said, well, read it. So he read it. And all his men were behind me. They were all geared up with all the equipment on for a gas fire and stuff. And I told him, I says, don't that fit them? So he looked at me, he says, yeah. He says, 2 wars, we wear different uniforms. He said, I was at 9/11. So he took it to the firehouse. And he don't realize the gift he gave me by just taking it, because they did do the same thing.
Right.
You know. Then St. John's University has it in the college, because you got guys coming back from war going to college. A lot of them were not in combat, so they're not recognized. But now these kids in the college can see that they do count.
They served our country.
And they can recognize them.
Right.
But the thing is, you don't hear anything about a clerk. You don't hear nothing about a cook. You don't hear about them.
But they're all part of the machinery that makes it work.
That's it. But the thing is, if you close your eyes and open your eyes and you're in another country, your whole life changes, right? You got a job to do, but your whole way of life changes. Then you blink your eyes and you're back here. And then they say, oh, you didn't do nothing. Why? Because you weren't in combat. Because the newspapers will direct you the way they want you to go. And you'll look right past that person. But that person gave up part of their life, part of their time, part of their way from their families. And they don't count.
But they do.
But they do. But the way it's steered and the way it's looked at, they don't count, because you don't hear nothing about them. You know.
So,
And it's at Dover Air Force Base where the bodies come in. I went down there with my friends, with the veterans and others who care. We had an organization. And the lady on Victory Boulevard gave us, like, I think it was about 200 pounds of Browns and cookies and chocolate to take down with us. And we went down, and we were talking to them, telling them why we were there. And what happened was, we told them it was for them. So they called the guys from the morgue to come up. And they stood there, and they kept saying, this is for us? So we said, yeah, we didn't think nothing of it. They said, this is for us? We said, yeah, it's for you. And they started opening up the packages and eating them. And then we realized that nobody ever went to those guys. Nobody ever seen those guys. But this little ragtag group that came from Staten Island, we came down and we said thank you. And they appreciated it.
Yeah.
And that's why basically we wanted to tell them. And that's why I put the plaque together, because so many people like that, they were seeing therapists 2 and 3 times a week, because they got to take the body home and wait until it gets in the ground. Morgue workers got to adjust the bodies and stuff when they come in. But you go down and you see grievement parlor, you know, what do you think? That's all you see. But you don't see the soldiers. But they're there. And
They make it happen.
And when we went down there, then we realized nobody goes to see those guys. Nobody talks to them. You know, they don't exist. But they do.
Absolutely do. I have a challenge or a directive for the Staten Island Clinic. I want to go into the Staten Island Clinic. I want to see one of these plaques on the wall there. Okay,
well, that's up to them.
Well, we're telling you what we want, without a doubt. Cary, this is very interesting. The whole thing is, and we could probably go on for hours, which means we're going to have you back again and do another show in the near future, and to follow up on everything we're doing. I wanted to talk about when you got into Vietnam, the orphanages.
Yeah.
That I mean, you have incredible photographs of, you know, the children in the orphanages and the things that you've done. What you have done is make me very proud to knowing you, because you're doing it without benefit of organizations. You're doing it on your own, and with a couple other guys working with you, and you made it work. You made it work. You cannot envision how individuals could get thousands of pounds of medical supplies airlifted into Vietnam by Air China, stored in a warehouse, and you get over there and you distribute them to the various hospitals and areas of need. And the one thing that, you know, impressed me, the pictures you had of the mountain people.
Oh, those are great people.
The mountain people coming down from the mountains with their different tribes that they have over there, and gratefully accepting supplies and making it work.
Well, we hooked up with a monk. I work with a monk now, and I can travel anywhere in that country. The government will not bother me as long as I'm with that monk. She's a master monk, and I've been working with her for a while, and we take stuff, but she was the first one to take my supplies, and she gave it to the mountain people. They came down with their like they call them midwives, but they came down with their little baskets and stuff, and she gave them each some of the stuff that we took in the mountains, and they're amazing people.
Right. Well, you've been watching In Honor Of, and we've been going on for the past half hour, and Cary do most of the talking, thank God. And there are so many interesting things and so many complimentary things of Staten Island, and especially complimentary of yourself and the people that you work with. Cary, thank you very much. Thank you for watching In Honor Of. You just keep watching. We're going to bring you more shows, and we will be back with Cary in the very near future.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.